Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's short attention span webinar. Kelly, how are you since last we spoke?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How about you?
I feel so much better this week.
Oh, that's
It's
so good to hear.
incredible. You know, you wear the same sweater week after week, and somehow your cold goes away. So today we're going to talk about one of our favorite first impressions. Kelly, what do we mean by first impression when it comes to prospecting?
Well, again, you have a lot of choices with how you can reach out to somebody for the first time. You can call them, you can go visit them, you can send a letter, you can send an email. And so you and I kind of talk about how one of our favorite things to do is kind of kick it old school and actually put pen or printer ink to paper and send a letter through the U.S. mail.
And it's old school.
Yeah,
It's old school. No
it
one
is old
does this
school.
anymore. You know, everybody emails, everybody calls, you don't stop by anymore, but this is a good old fashioned way of doing it. And, you know, it's not a bad thing. What business are we in? Oh, that's right, print. Print and mail. You know, so this is a
Hmm.
great idea to demonstrate. And I even had a client once that sent out a mailing on the outside. It said print is dead. And then he opened it up, opened it up and it said on the inside, it said, so if that's true, why did you open up this letter?
Right.
We can get your customers to open up letters too. So let's start.
Yeah.
All right. Why send a letter? We just covered that. Let's talk about the basics. So the basics are that my opinion, Kelly, I want to make this readable and scannable. If there's too much copy, there's too much, text all the way down. I'm busy. I'm ADD. I'm already going at 100 miles an hour when I open up my mail. I don't want to read it.
Right.
It should be scannable. And I make it scannable doing exactly what you're seeing on your screen, bullet points.
Yep.
What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to spend too much time agonizing over the fact that you're not a writer. You're not a great writer. This is, we would be really lucky if they actually read this thing top to bottom, front to back. So 2 sentences, like you're about to talk about how it has 3 parts. 2 sentences, couple bullet points, closing, end it, because this is really just the first step in what is probably a multi-touch program of trying to get and engage with this person.
Right.
So,
Right. Yep. Okay. And again, it's a 1, 2, 3. Here I come. No one's going
yep.
to get your letter and go, oh my gosh, a printer. Let's call them up. It should be one page. The thing is, I've also seen data that says that if you send somebody out an 8, 9, 10-page letter, double spaced, that's supposed to work better too. And who knows? I haven't seen one of these letters in a long time, but there used to be a sales pitch that just went on and on and on, and then they'd make an offer, and then it would go on and on and on, and they claimed it was very effective.
Wow.
The blue ink thing, I will credit John Bickley. John Bickley was my professor at the University of Alabama, Dr. John Bickley, and he always made a sign with blue ink. Kelly, you know why?
Yeah, because you can't replicate that on an inkjet printer. So it shows that you actually took the time to write, and again, you're
Yep.
engaging with that piece of paper. You're just doing something a little different.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be so. And Dr. Bickley's thinking was that it shows that it's right. It's not photocopied. That someone paid specific attention to it. The other thing is, excuse me, that you want to make certain it's not all about you. This
Hmm.
isn't the I Me My story. I'm writing to introduce you to me and my company, and we've got this press and we've got that press, and we can do this, we can do that. It's not all about you. What's going to happen to that letter, Kelly?
It's going to get pitched right in the circular file.
Yep, there it goes. Absolutely. 3 sections to a well-written business letter. In the first section, you say what you are going to say. I'm writing to you today to introduce myself and my company and ... In the body of the letter, you say it. So you say what you're going to say, and then you say it. My company is, and we do that, and here's what I know about you, or here's what I want to do. In the third section, third paragraph, you say what you said. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself. Then you want to have an action statement. What's a good example of an action statement, Kelly?
I'll be calling you again on Friday, and I hope you'll make the time to take my call. I cannot believe how many people that are still actually writing letters today and then miss that step.
Yeah,
It's just
or they say
unbelievable.
Or they say, if you're interested, call me.
Right.
What? You crazy?
Yeah.
And then the final thing is a PS. Why do we include the PS?
people's eyes are always drawn to the bottom of a piece of paper, so that it's why they'll be drawn to bullet points too, which is why we're a big fan of them. But yeah, that even if they don't read what's in that letter, if you put something, even if it's check out case studies at our website, or I used to be a professional football player, or whatever that is at the bottom, it's if there's some impact there, that's what they'll see.
It's going to get read. Remind me to tell you about our large format graphics. Remind me to tell you about our automatic ordering system or whatever. All right, so now we've done that stuff. Let's have some fun. This letter is incredibly unique, and I hope you can read it. In that purple block, right? This, by the way, this was written by a guy named Block, Steve Block, and Steve Cosmopoulos. Steve Block passed away, I think, about 3 years ago. He was a very interesting guy here in Boston. He was a business development guy. He called himself the Bagel Man. Steve Cosmopoulos was one of the founders of Hill Holiday. You look it up. Hill, Holiday, Connor, and Cosmopoulos, the big ad agency. Crazy, crazy creative guy. I had lunch with him. It lasted 4 hours, and I couldn't get enough of him. He's so brilliant with his ideas. So this is the Blah Blah letter, and it's a parody of the letter. So the
I
purple,
love it.
if you can't read it, the purple says, a nice color photograph of Steve Block goes here with his completely coordinated attire, Armani tie, Ralph Lauren jacket, beautifully coiffured hair, neatly trimmed mustache, sparkling brown eyes, motor mouth, word-spurting lips, an infectiously warm smile, and millions of clever new ideas. And the letter reads, Dear Bill, blah, 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 Smith print, blah, 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 great bagels, blah, 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 great service. And on it went. And Steve would routinely call me. I thank God for caller ID. I mean, I love Steve, but you got to have an hour to talk to him if you're going to pick up the phone. That motor mouth thing wasn't, and he knew it too. But Steve would he would send out this letter, and then he would send me the replies that he got from people that absolutely loved it. You want to talk about a great door opener and attention getter? This was the best, and it is copywritten, gang. But I just thought I'd share that because I think it's a lot of fun.
There are so many different things you could do with this idea, Bill. And again, this is where I always tell people to put their own personality, their own voice into something. You could send out a one letter or a one sentence letter if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You could do anything. You could just fold a piece of paper and put something in it. Like I used to work with a girl who used to put Pop Rocks in an envelope and send them. And then she'd call back and say, did you get the Pop Rocks? There's just so many fun things you could do. So I think have fun is one of the elements of this.
What I'll tell you my favorite Steve Cosmopoulos story. He said that he took an 11 by 17 inch sheet and he flooded it with black ink, and then he UV coated it or varnished it. I can't remember. Anyway, and then he crumpled it up and he mailed it just like that. Big 11-17. He mailed it just like this. And when the client got it in the envelope, they'd open it up, and of course the varnish cracked like that. On the other side, he printed the words, if your windshield looks like this, call Acme Glass. Bam! I mean, that's the power of print right there. The guy was an absolute genius. So anyway, now I'm recycling. So that's my fun Steve Cosmopoulos story. Kelly, thanks for your help this week.
Thanks, Bill.
And we'll talk to you all next week on another short attention span webinar.